All right, you are here with MMA Canada and very excited to have this next guest on. He's vying for the Unified MMA Bantamweight Championship, which goes down on June the 14th as part of Unified MMA 57 as Gage Gill steps into the cage against Cody Chovancek. And great to have Cody on the show and get to talk to him a little bit. How's your day been going so far, man?
It's been going pretty good. It's been going pretty good. Had a hard wrestling practice this morning, last one at camp, so those are always banger practices, and it was really good work today. It felt really good, and yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that's such like a, and not to say that other gyms don't necessarily have good wrestling programs and whatnot, but that seems to be such a difference maker with Niagara Top Team. Like it seems like Chris Prickett and everyone involved with that, it just really reflects in like the wrestling skill of all the different fighters that come out of there. So good to hear you're getting in good work, man.
Yeah, the wrestlers have a really good mentality, right? It's hard work and we're grinding, we're putting in the work. We're not scared of hard work, and Chris runs a really good they all like all the coaches, they run a really good program altogether. That's why we're being so successful, right? Whether you want to be a striker, you want to be a grappler, you need wrestling. And we spend a lot of time there, and I'm confident in any position because of it, you know?
Well, I think that's really like the thing that wrestling provides. I mean, you articulated it well there. It's like you're just confident wherever the fight ends up going. It's like such a difference maker. It just allows you to express yourself in whatever range you're operating in within MMA, it seems like.
Yeah, exactly.
But this is a big one, man. I mean, you're no stranger to main eventing necessarily. You main evented BTC 16 and everything like that. But this seems like a big one in terms of it being a championship fight. Like, when did you catch wind that you would be contending for the title here with Unified?
Well, I've been trying to get that title shot for a while, I guess, against the former champion Noah Ali, and then he vacated, and then it all worked out perfectly then. But yeah, I've known about the fight, about like possibly being main event for about 12 weeks, so I was getting ready, and it came to fruition, and it's like super honoring to be, or I don't know if that's the right word. Yeah, I'm super honored to be the main event on such a huge card. This is going to be a massive card for Ontario MMA, and there's tons of really high, talented fighters on the card, and to headline that event is huge. And I'm not taking it lightly. The people are going to get what they paid for, and there's a reason why it's main event. This fight has fireworks all over it, right? So
Yeah, for sure. I mean, good to see there's some, I guess, direction with the division too. Like, I always liked interviewing Noah over the years, but it's like one of those things where you want to just see some level of movement with the title. Like, I know Eric Shelton had won that interim 135-pound title at one point, but it didn't really seem like there was even a clear, I guess, next step for him in that regard in terms of what would happen with the title. So good to see there's like some defined direction with the fighters vying for it. So it makes a lot of sense to me for sure.
yeah, for sure.
And pretty ambitious what Unified is doing as well, just in as far as like they're concurrently running events on the same day in different parts of the country. Like it definitely seems like an effort to kind of even further illustrate what a lot of people kind of perceive anyway, which is like Unified is like the big show in the country, but kind of an interesting thing to be a part of in that sense, I would think. Just them doing obviously this big show in Toronto, but also running a show the same night in Edmonton as well.
Yeah, it's pretty cool for sure. I mean, it doesn't really change anything in my eyes. Like just my focus obviously is in Toronto, and but yeah, that's pretty sweet for the promotion to be able to do that. Um, it's awesome for the fans, right? I think it's gonna be streamed separate times. I'm not exactly sure how that's gonna work. Hopefully, yeah, I'm not too sure how that's gonna work exactly, but it's pretty cool.
Yeah, hopefully they'd be able to break it up a bit so everyone who's into Canadian MMA can get their fix of both and stuff like that. And I'm sure
Yeah.
this is like no necessarily like necessarily like a change of pace rather in terms of sharing card spots with like Niagara Top Team teammates and stuff like that, but with like Zach Powell being on the card and stuff like that. I mean, that must always kind of be cool. Like as much as you guys have your individual assignments, just having like I guess some people from the gym kind of all vying for their different opportunities, their respective fights, like the team kind of showing up on the same card and everything like that.
Well, 100%. And it's funny because at first I hated this two show thing because they were trying to pull, um, I don't know if this is confidential information or what, but it that doesn't really matter, I don't think. But Powell, they're trying to get Powell to go out west, and I'm like, no, man, come on, stay here, stay in Ontario. We got to fight in the same on the same card. That way, we can all stick together. You know, we feed off each other's energy and in the back room there, and then if we're separating, then we got to split the coaches up and whatever else. But it all worked out, and yeah, I'm super stoked for this. Nobody had to go out to Edmonton. We get to perform here in Ontario. It's rare that we get these big opportunities here. Sometimes it seems like so. It's awesome to be able to headline a show like that. It's crazy.
Yeah, it seems like Rebel has become quite a venue for Ontario MMA. Like, it's just so cool to see, man. Because like I remember for years there was like nothing going on in the Ontario scene and stuff like that. So to see like a certain rate of activity now, and they've obviously had a few different promotions come through Rebel and have different shows there and stuff like that. It's just kind of a cool environment, I think, and whatnot. Like, I mean, obviously you've had a couple fights under the Unified banner now, but it must be cool to kind of be having this opportunity and everything like that at the, at this venue and stuff like that. Just, I mean, like Dana White was there for the whole looking for a fight in January, checking out that
I
card
was
and
there
stuff like that.
Said I was watching. I thought I was gonna fight. I accepted the fight, but that's in the past anyway. But yeah, it's a killer venue. Um, just having the balcony there. It's in like the chandelier over the cage, everything. It feels it's like smaller once you get everybody in there, so it feels like there's so many people in there. It's a really cool venue. I'm excited to scrap there.
Yeah, it's a good look too on the broadcast end of things. Like it just looks like such a jam-packed venue and everything like that. But in terms of like, I guess your opponent here, like what was the, I guess, awareness level prior to like this fight being lined up? Like I kind of mentioned from the top, both of you guys are undefeated and both at 6-0 as professionals. Like what were your, well, or rather, I guess, what was your intel on Gage Gill ahead of this fight prior to like the bout offer and everything coming your way for it?
Well, they had gave me other names, and we didn't get Gage Gill's name towards the end, but we had a couple other guys turn me down. Some guys that were on Contender Series turned me down, and then we got like a name like 4 or 5 guys, and Gage Gill was the best name out of that group that I seen, and that's the fight I wanted because it's a big opportunity too, right? And that's gonna look good on my resume. 6-0, I take him out. I just took out an undefeated fighter. It's gonna solidify my Contender Series, I think, after this one. That's what I'm manifesting. That's what I've been saying all camp. So just gotta go out there and perform and make it happen.
It would seem like a logical next step for you at this juncture in your career. And you even kind of see it with some of the people that shook out from that aforementioned January card that I mentioned. Like, I believe Pat Pitlick is lined up for a Contender Series after getting a big win on that card. So, I mean, clearly it's a promotion that people in that kind of like decision making position have eyes on and stuff like that. So it's cool you're manifesting that specific goal there and everything.
Yeah, I'm ready for it, man. I'm making leaps and bounds in my skill set right now. I've been saying even like the last couple months, it feels like I'm getting better so much faster every day. And after this fight, nothing's gonna change. We're gonna get back right in the gym and be ready for that opportunity. The opportunities are always coming. Sometimes the game is a little stagnant and there's not too much happening, but you just gotta stay committed and trust the process, right?
Yeah, for sure. Have you ever had moments where I guess that seemed to be like maybe difficult. It's not necessarily the right word, but maybe like the patience and waiting for things to play out in a certain way, like focusing on what's within your immediate control. Like maybe that is kind of paramount. Like, has that been something you've faced at certain points in your career?
Oh yeah, sure. But once you once you start to mature up a bit and you see things for what it is, like and you hear the grades talk about it, it's like you just gotta fall in love with the process. We're doing this day in and day out, whether there's a fight coming up or not. You gotta be in the gym trying to get better, and see that you don't have to get ready to fight, right? Yeah, we're gonna have a fight camp. We're gonna try to get in the best shape, but you should always be honing your craft. You should always be uh like outside of camp. That's that time when you're working on that B game, right? And you're trying to add that B game to your A game. And then in fight camp, it's like, okay, now we're making a game plan. I'm trying to get absolutely dialed with my physique and be in the best shape possible. But outside camp, you should be always honing your craft and just just falling in love with that process will help with any time that you feel like, oh, there isn't an opportunity for this. There is no fights coming. Well, if you're always chasing that growth, you're gonna be happy with that, and then the opportunities will come.
Yeah, and it's interesting the way you phrase it. I mean, that probably benefits you long term in a curious way. Like, as much as you'd probably want to have a consistent rate of activity if you had it specifically your way. I mean, working on that B game, as you'd kind of talked about, it probably serves that master of being even kind of unpredictable for your opponents. Like, maybe in the sense of if you're facing someone who's like an active tape study or like get right into the minutia of all your footage, like maybe that becomes like not even the Cody that they're stepping into the cage with when it
Exactly.
comes time
That's what
to
I
throw
always
down.
say too. Yeah, I can watch this guy too and watch all his fights, and yeah, he's gonna have things that he's gonna carry over still. But if I'm watching my old fights, I'm a completely different fighter, even from my last performance. So, uh, like, yeah, watching tape and only goes so far.
Yeah, and I mean, great gym culture at NTT, as I was talking about earlier. Just like so many people at like that Bellator level, UFC, etc., just really spread out in some of the bigger promotions. And it seemed like that journey in a lot of regards with Niagara Top Team kind of began when you were coming out for Tishay's first pro fight to help him train for that. Like, have you been able to get and work with Teshay Gouthro a fair bit in this camp? Just, I mean, he's a high level bantamweight in Canada as well. So have you been able to get in that work with
Oh
him
yeah,
as of
of
late?
course. They're like Tahisha is always my main guy. We've been main training partners forever, so we've been getting a lot of work in, and I've been getting a lot of work in with a ton of other guys too. There's a lot of 35ers around now, and it's been nice to train with everybody, get a bunch of different bodies to train with and everything. Right, the more styles you see, the less chance that you're gonna get surprised with a style. Right, if you've seen all these guys, you train with a ton of different bodies, and okay, and you fight somebody, you don't you don't know really somebody's style until you fight with them, and then you feel their style, and then maybe I can say, oh, this guy I'm fighting now is that exactly like this guy I've trained with so many times, right? And then certain things are gonna work better than others. But yeah, me and Tisha are always we're always getting in work. But I was just gonna say, like, it's just sick to have so many other like 45ers and under in the room. It's been a big group for the this camp, and we always got the Agus guys coming out, Siri, I mean, um, they got some up and coming guys too that are always coming out to get work, and we go out there, so it's nice.
No, I hear what you're saying. Probably helps with that adaptability in there. I mean, if your opponent gives you a certain look that maybe you're not even expecting, it's like you can, I guess, go to that well of your anecdotal experience, maybe working with guys who have similar attributes and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. That's why it's just so beneficial training with a lot of different people, right? When like it comes to sparring and other like live goes, just to get working with as many bodies as possible.
Yeah, for sure. And you were kind of talking earlier about, not being like overly fixated on like the tape study. I mean, you probably glean a bit of info, but you strike me as a guy who's maybe more focused on your own individual endeavors. But like, what are your thoughts on what you may have seen of Gage Gill, just like someone who's fought for like CFFC and some of the other leagues like Cage Warrior or Caged Warrior Championship, rather. And it looks like all of his fights are first round finishes. And I mean, you have a wealth of first round finishes yourself. So I guess in kind of saying all of that, like, what are your thoughts on what you may or may not have seen of him? Like, it just, I guess, strikes me as a fight that would be quite exciting. I mean, you've also shown your capacity to like pace yourself over the distance and, allocate your energy appropriately through that and everything. But like, I guess, what are your thoughts on what you may have seen of Gage Gill so far?
I think he's an aggressive striker. He's definitely explosive. Um, he hasn't fought nearly as tough as competition as I fought. I think he's padded his record a little bit with cans, but at the end of the day, you still evolve every fight no matter what. And I think his style just plays really good into my style, and you're gonna see me pick him apart.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously a lot coming up. Like you're talking about a title fight here, you're eyeing like contender series down the line as well. But I kind of wanted to touch on getting that fighter of the year distinction for Unified in 2023, just because we haven't really gotten a chance to kind of talk about that since like what was that like? I mean, I guess you're kind of accustomed to it in a way. Like you got that BTC Fighter of the Year award in 2022, but what was it like getting that distinction for Unified, I suppose?
Oh, it's super cool, and to get it twice, like two separate promotions, I think back to back years is really cool, and it's just because I'm fighting for. I go out there and try to put on a show for the fans all the time, right? I'm trying to finish whoever I'm fighting from start to finish. It's 15 minutes or 25 minutes. Just because this is a 25-minute fight, it ain't gonna change anything. I'm still gonna be looking to finish him from the get go to the very end of 25 minutes if it goes all 5 rounds. But yeah, to get those awards is super cool, and it's like really humbling because there's so many talented fighters in Ontario, and I train with a lot of them. So it's I'm I'm just honored to get that a couple times. I got rookie, I got fighter of the year, and then fighter of the year for unified too. So
Yeah, I
it's
was gonna say
it's
you're getting all these awards with these MMA promotions. You're the best fisherman in MMA. You're raking in all the
yeah,
distinctions, it
we gotta
seems
get
like.
that. We gotta get that award going. And I've been fishing, man. I haven't been posting too much content lately, but I've been out there on the water. I've been crushing the fish. So um, hopefully after this fight, I can buy a boat and then start doing some more content. My idea is to start combining the two, like my fighting stuff, and then combine my fishing stuff, and kind of have a platform where I can show both of them.
Yeah, no, that makes sense, man. It seems like you're kind of even branching out a bit beyond that too, like just general outdoors kind of activities. Like it looked
Well,
like you were
that's
hunting
just, I've
some
always
birds a
done that
bit
my
too.
whole life, right? I've always done that my whole life. That's my passion. The things that feel primal to me, I'm drawn to. Fighting, such a primal feeling, right? People have been doing it for thousands of years. Hunting, providing food for my family. People have been doing that for thousands of years. Fishing, people have been doing that for thousands of years. Like these things feel primal to me, and it's just what I'm super passionate about. It's what I want to spend all my time doing: fighting, fishing, hunting, the outdoors. That's all I need.
Yeah, it makes sense when you lay it out like that, the different connections between them. And there must be something too, just kind of like knowing where your food's coming from and just this like the satisfaction of like having that and your family having it at like the end of the day. So love to hear that, man.
Oh, it's super cool, and it's like nutritious food, right? I know, like I shot my first deer last year, um, with a compound bow, and uh, like what's in that meat, like it's not pumped full of steroids and fillers or whatever else, and I know I processed that meat, and I know what it took to put that food on my table. So it's very rewarding, and it's like super thankful to be able to do that. It's getting hot in here. I got to roll one of these windows down. Sweating a little bit.
Yeah, no worries. I'm here in Brazil actually. I usually have like a fan going on and stuff like that to kind of stave off the toastiness. I'm getting a little sweaty here, but don't really have too many options. But just gonna ride it out, and everything like that. But no, that's cool to hear, man. I feel like people who I know that kind of partake in stuff like that, whether it's like fishing or hunting, like they echo similar sentiments, just that idea of knowing where it's coming from. Because I mean, yeah, just you never really know what's going on in some of the I guess like food you get in like a grocery store sometimes, like you said, maybe pumped full of steroids or just even like the nature of processed food that can be so prevalent in North America. So just to say, good to know where you're getting your food from and what's comprised of the meals and stuff like that. Looks like your mic isn't on right now. I can see you, but
How was that?
yeah, no, I
Better?
can hear you now. Yeah, yeah. I can hear you now. You can hear me and everything.
Yep. Maybe I'll just go back though.
Yeah, but that's cool that you're thinking of like branching out into those other areas as far as like the content. Like I know you've obviously been involved in outdoors activity for a while, but cool to hear you're looking to like integrate that into the content. Like I feel like there is a certain amount of crossover there. Like off the top of my head, I feel like Chad Mendez does a lot of stuff like
Oh
that
yeah.
and whatnot.
Well, those guys made their name first, right? And then they were in the UFC, and then oh, if they like hunting or whatever, then they want to do that. And there'll be guys that want to go out and hunting and fish with them because they're already celebrities in the UFC. Where I'm kind of doing it differently. I'm working my way to get there. Maybe they were big into it before, but I'm not. I'm not sure if they were or not. You know?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Like when did you, I guess, first start getting into it? Like have you been doing it almost longer than you've been in the martial arts? Did you kind of pick it
Oh,
up
for sure.
around a similar time?
For sure. I've been fishing for my whole life, pretty much ever since I was a little kid, and then just got super like things that I really am interested in. I just dive in and I get obsessed with them. Right, fighting, fishing, hunting. Now I'm starting to really enjoy that. So, but I don't get into too many things. Just those things I really enjoy and I obsess over them. So, but yeah, fishing's always been. I've always been fishing, and then obviously started training and whatnot. So,
Yeah, it was cool to
but
see you were in Ontario outdoors. Like I had noticed that a bit ago. Like I saw you were rocking it on page 20 there, so that must have been a fun experience.
oh, that was super cool too. To get the acknowledgement there too is really a cool feeling to open that magazine and see myself there with a couple tank fish. That was awesome. And I feel like a lot of these guys are saying, "Oh, best fisherman in MMA, best fisherman in MMA," but they're really not. Like, okay, because you go out with a charter doesn't mean that you're the best fisherman in MMA. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting you brought that up. Like you don't necessarily know like how long some of these guys have been doing that for, whereas as you kind of outlined there, like you've been doing outdoors activities even longer than mixed martial
Oh,
arts.
I'm
So
hardcore. I'm hardcore about it too. It's not just like I'm. I've been fishing since I was a little kid, and I go here and there. Like I go fishing every chance I get. You can ask my teammates. You can ask anybody. Like we'll do me and my fishing buddies that are other hardcore fishermen. We'll do like crazy trips, drive all over Ontario to catch fish. We know when the hot bite's going on where, and we know our stuff too. So it's been sweet, and I've had the honor to have some pretty cool sponsors in the industry too, right? And I think it's important for whether you're a pro fisherman or you're a pro fighter, it's cool to show your interest too, right? Because in the UFC or just any fight promotion, everybody that's fighting, we're all fighters, but that's not your identity, right? We want like people want to see what you're doing outside of your fight life too. And then vice versa when it comes to like pro fishermen. Yeah, everybody knows these guys are like pro fishermen, but they people want to see what they're doing outside their life too, right? So it plays hand in hand um, with those two industries, and just being able to show um, what you're all about, right?
yeah, no, I hear you, man. Just great to see that. And I mean,
You
clearly
there?
something you're passionate about.
Froze
So,
up.
oh, am I still frozen up?
No, that's good now.
Oh, cool. Okay. Yeah, I was just saying that's a cool thing. I mean, clearly you're very passionate about it. And I guess like something that also is kind of like a fusion of like the personal life and what you're doing professionally. Like, I admittedly didn't even know how involved your girlfriend was in mixed martial arts, but I saw she
Oh yeah.
captured some gold recently and big
Oh
congrats
yeah.
there. New strawweight champion. So love to see
Yep.
that. Maybe we're getting a couple belts rolling in the household, but just, I mean, how
Oh,
important is
100%.
something like that? And everything. Just, I mean, you're obviously on this MMA path, and she's obviously making great strides in MMA as well. Like, how important is it to have that confluence of the professional and personal, I suppose?
It's really cool to be like-minded, right? We're both like-minded in our goal set, and she's like one of the hardest working people I know. She's an ER nurse, and she just recently went casual. She was working part time. She just recently went casual so she can kind of pick her own schedule and then focus more on her own training to be a better mixed martial artist. She's already #1 ranked in Quebec, has the amateur title there. Not only that, she went to Saudi Arabia and competed at Pancration Worlds and got third in the world in Pancration. And all the girls that she was going against were pro fighters in MMA, but they're amateur Pancration fighters. So it was really cool for her to get that experience. And yeah, she's making leaps and bounds in her skill set as well. So it's really cool for us both to be on this journey together, and we both feed off each other and train at home and stuff. It's awesome. We get to spend a lot of time with each other too because of it.
Yeah, I love to hear that, man. So cool to see all of that, and all the best to her as she continues on this path. And like you said, it seems like she's going to be even more entrenched into it and everything like that. But it's been great getting to have you on and talk a bit, Cody. I guess I'm curious, as we're kind of, I guess, wrapping things up here, if maybe you had any kind of final thought you wanted to kind of end things off on.
Um, just tune in June 14th. Watch the fight. It's gonna be a banger. Tickets are on sale on Ticketmaster. Use promo code Chovancek10 when you select your seats. When you select your seats on Ticketmaster, the unlock button's right at the top. You hit unlock, you enter that promo code. When you go to the checkout, it'll say promo code 2. It doesn't mean anything. Don't enter anything. I've had a lot of people have a tough time with getting tickets, but yeah, come out, come watch the fight. Whether you can watch it in person, it'll be streamed on UFC Fight Pass. You're not gonna want to miss this. It's gonna be the best performance of my career. I'm feeling the best I've ever felt mentally, physically, and yeah, I'm just really excited to scrap June 14th.
Yeah, it's going to be a great fight against Gage Gill, and just cool to see two undefeated rising stars in the game going at it, and for a championship belt, no less. So thanks so much for coming on and being part of the MMA Canada experience, Cody. Looking forward to peeping this one when it goes down. But until then, you have a good rest of your day, man. And yeah, thanks so much for the time. I'll be checking out the fight.
Awesome, brother. I appreciate it. We're keeping that belt in the north. Let's go.